after match day 30, the name Orlando Pirates will appear.
Number one.
Between 1 and 16.
Number one.
It's game over.
It's important, Honorable Malema, that as we debate, we should play the ball and not the man.
To have players from my favorite team or double back-to-back, my daughter. Thank you so much for having Ustisi, Ndlondo in studio. I only have two requests, Bafwethu. Please, one, Elangela Paya, Padnendawo, Mr. Ndlondo. In the middle there, fight, Baba. I need that MTN 8 Man of the Match performance back from you. Please, 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 Baba, bring it back. Lemo, Baba, Ustisi. Vala. We just want the league, we want CAF, we want a defense again of these other two cups and that additional one.
What makes and where do we find the link so that people know that this is the commemorative jersey for Orlando Pirates for this season?
What is it that we could celebrate? How can we motivate these players as well as the fan to say this is what we're creating and this is what we're making? Because we are looking for an item here that, one, from a performance side, it's going to benefit the players to be at the best possible setup. For this year, we say, let's look back to the forefathers of this club that kind of paved the way.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
If we want to continue to be relevant in the lives of young people, if we want to continue to inspire the next generations with our Olympic values, then we have to go where the young people are. In the real world and in the digital world. We have to go to esports. This is why at our IOC session in Mumbai last October, I asked our IOC Esports Commission to study the creation of Olympic esports games. Thanks to the record-breaking speed of our commission, led by our dear colleague David Lapartien, the executive board is now in the position to propose to you, my dear colleagues and friends, the creation of Olympic esports games. In a position to propose to you the creation of Olympic esports games with a partner and first host that is a recognized leader in this area, the National Olympic Committee of Saudi Arabia. People are fed up with all this hate, with all this aggression, with all the killing, with the wars and confrontation. In their hearts, and in all our hearts, we are longing for something which brings us together. We are longing for something that gives us hope. And this is why billions of people are looking forward to the Olympic Games Paris 2024 as this symbol of hope, as this symbol of togetherness.
Exactly 3 days to go before the Olympic Games happening in Paris. Hey, South Africa, are you ready? That's the big question. That's on the eve of the Paris Olympics. Now, the IOC president, Thomas Bach, touting the Games as a uniting force in a world of wars and confrontation. Now, Bach told an audience that included the French President Emmanuel Macron that the world needed the Olympic Games. I'm not sure, hey? Talkability in and around South Africa, whether people are excited about the Olympic Games. I think I am. It's the biggest showpiece, multi-sporting showpiece in the world. And yes, football will put an argument to say that, you know what, guys, football, hey, the World Cup is the biggest of them all. But it's not about the competition. It's about what the Olympics bring to society and the world. It's about that unifying factor, the competition, the history of what it stands for. And I really think that in 3 days' time, they've promised us an opening ceremony like no other. Sure. I just hope that we get medals like no other.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Of course, that is BC. Orlando Pirates defender is here in studio. Orlando Pirates midfielder also in studio. Habilam Kolo says that good show as always. Just not happy that our preseason games were televised. Teams will plan for us easily.
Philip.
It's a Philip question, this one. Philip is coming home.
What I think is that it didn't worry us, but what I can say is that the main focus was on us, not on other people, what is it that they'll be seeing from us, what we'll be doing and stuff like that. The main focus will be on us, so I don't think it'll be a challenge for us to be known what we've been doing there.
#MSW. #MSW.
All right, so the interview for the day now, as we know that this man gets to age twice as much during this time of the season, simply because the stress that comes with always hunting for talent is immense. Now, wonder just how much sleep he gets, because it's said that the good old hunter never sleeps. And with friendly games coming in thick and fast now, he's also hard at work preparing his particular Spartans for what promises to be an exciting season ahead. Has signed a couple of quality players. We've seen that circulating in the media as well. Also officially confirmed by the club. Yeah, it is quality players. Is it enough though? He's extended his own contract. Let's catch up with the SuperSport United gaffer. A true Litsatanza through and through. Gavin Hunt is in the house, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me.
You got two fans
I
right
see,
there.
yeah. It's only two we normally get.
Yeah, this is as much as you get at the
Yeah.
Masterpieces Maripa Stadium.
Whichever stadium we play.
It's been difficult for you getting home these days, eh?
It's been travelling a bit. Last year was real taxing. I left the suitcase by the door there.
It was either the big one or the smaller one.
Yeah, or another one, some other one.
Or just the carry-on luggage.
Jeez, between CAF games and obviously playing the home games as well up there, it's a lot of travelling last year, last season.
And also just the past week now, you've been going across the border to Botswana?
Yeah, everybody else went.
But it's still international travel though.
Okay. Yeah, we had our passport stamped. It was great. It's only a 4-hour drive, 4.5-hour drive, so it was good. We had some good games, and the facilities in Botswana, they've really upped their game. These clubs have put so much money. And you got to really, we are far behind if you look at our PSL compared to the clubs there. Wow. They've got their own little grounds and clubhouses and gyms and office space, and they've got these astroturfs and grass pitches. They really put a lot of money into their clubs there, and we could learn and take a leaf out of their book, that's for sure.
So individually, they own all of that.
They got little complexes, and there's a lot of PSL clubs that don't even have training grounds. If you look at they built office spaces, and the clubs, Gaborone United, were fantastic, and we used their facilities. And then we went down to another place, Delalani, which is also, they got a beautiful grass pitch, beautiful gym facilities, and a beautiful Astro as well. So they're certainly leading the way.
What does that say, though, about where South Africa is, especially because we are seen as having the more money, the more financial muscle that we do have, but we don't have facilities? Well,
that's certainly something that's always been a bugbear of me, that I think that there should be certain standards. So you look at clubs selling franchises, what do they sell? They sell a shell. They don't sell a property. They don't sell fields. They don't sell land. Some of the teams don't even have a bus, so it's something that we should strive towards. Financially, it's a great league we're in here, and the broadcasting and everything like that. But if you look at the actual, there's no assets. There's not assets. The players, yes, but you need a physical ground, and that's something that the club should strive. There's a few clubs that have done very, very well in that department, but there's a lot of clubs that, and financially, I know it's taxing, but that's something that should be certainly in the manual. That should be one of the stipulations, that if you have a PSL club, that you got to have. There's a project involved of building a facility to train players,
But sometimes it's not even about the money. You find a club like Kaizer Chiefs. You went there, you coached there, and they've got a facility second to none.
Fantastic.
It was an investment when they were still winning a lot of trophies, but even then they weren't winning as much money as you get now. But there was a vision, and I think nothing beats a vision. In the same way that Ajax Cape Town had a vision when they existed.
Exactly. And I know there's clubs, trying to do that. You need to get land, and there's a lot involved. But there's something that we can leave when we gone out of the game. There's a legacy. There's something to leave behind. And who does it affect? It affects our youth, because where do we train them? How do we practice on good surfaces, good pitches, get them to be in a professional environment? They're coming in from all over in transportation, then going home, and these type of things. So I know it's a big investment. I know the club owners are really struggling with these type of things, but it's something that we need to strive towards as football clubs, if there are wealthy owners out there who can do it. But as I said, I've just come back there, and it was an eye-opener for me, in Botswana.
eye-opener, but also managing, high-scoring games against the Botswana Defence Force, which was 7-1.
Yeah.
It's pre-season.
Yeah.
What do you gain from that as a
Well, I think
manager?
the gain is to try and get new players in, to try and get combinations going, to try and find a way that we can play with, the players we brought in, to try and get different systems of play, different situations. How do we react in situations? The results. I mean, if people look at scorelines in pre-season, I think you really got to be a little bit, don't know the game. So when people are winning, I actually enjoy when teams win, and because you know what's coming.
Yeah, because then you start on a high and it gives a false sense
and we lost
of-
the game
yeah.
there, and we lost the game to one of the teams there as well. But I mean, it's important to get the new players in, to find a rhythm in the team, and the problem is we don't really know when the start is coming. So you got to curtail your training. Do we take it back? Do we push more? Do we train more?
Oh, so that is a real thing. You guys don't know
Because
when
normally
the season
the way you
starts.
work in a preseason, you work backwards. You don't work forward. You work backwards from the first game, and you work backwards. So we haven't really got a date in the fixture. I know there's a lot going on, so we will find that out in the due course.
But I mean, it's almost like in a match day situation where you've warmed up,
Yeah,
everything is fine, and then you walk out and there's a massive thunderstorm or something happens,
something
and
like
you
that,
gotta go
yeah.
back again.
Yeah.
And then it sets you back somewhat, and you come back again, you try and do a warm-up, and one of your players maybe pulls a hamstring.
Yeah.
How far back, I mean, have they given you a guideline of saying, okay, maybe not this date, but within that date?
Well, there hasn't been an official guideline from anybody. Obviously, you hear rumors of this and that, but I'm sure I can see behind the scenes when the media releases are coming out about the sponsorship changing and those type of things. I mean, it's a huge thing. It's big. I don't even want to think what goes on behind the scenes, and you've got to commend the PSL and the executive of to try and get somebody in at this late time. But we haven't got an official date. So as a football player, you're working towards something now. We sort of, we've organized games and it's spread it out and training. We got a whole program. What do they call it? Periodization of training and all that. And now we're going to have to change that a little bit, So it's a bit, but listen, we're thankful that we're involved in the space, and we'll always be thankful. So you can never, it's one of the smaller things we need to worry about. Yeah. Don't worry
But
too much.
important from coaching, I mean, I see already the terminology is kicking in there, the cafe license.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. I mean, it was a bugbear for you. You got to be honest, because you can't be coaching a team within a CAF tournament and then you're not able to sit on the bench and conduct things that you normally do. But for you, an important one. And like I say, congratulations, because it became a stipulation pretty late.
And rightly so. I think it should be involved in our football. Obviously, SAFA and to be fair, Walter has done a good job because he's pushing this from his side. He's pushing courses, and we need to get more qualified coaches. It's a bottom. I mean, I've been in South Africa all my life, and we've had to go out to go on coaching courses and things, and then come back, and then there was nothing available for us here. There's got to be, it's got to be done in a professional manner, which it was done. It was well done. It was a late sort of notice. Come on the course, and we went, and it was spread over 4 to 5 weeks from last year. We did it all in the FIFA weeks, so it was great.
I mean, talking about that as we head towards the break, while we talk about coaching and coaches and so on, you've also got to be an interested observer in the dynamic that's affected our PSL coaches. Firstly, with Rulani Mokoena heading off to Wydad signing, that's a massive one for anybody coming out of South Africa, let alone a 37-year-old coach. And then, just today, again, the news coming through that Sia Dramovic, the coach of TS Galaxy.
Well, the rivalry will go on now.
He starts to follow his good old friend Rulani.
Yeah.
What does he call him? Yeah, let's leave the nickname.
Yeah. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for Rulani. People think, there's all the rumblings. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I think it's a great opportunity to step out of a club like Sundowns and go into that environment straight away. So it's a great opportunity for him, but. It's a new environment for him, and you're one step closer to just across the water, which is where the real football is, So that's a great opportunity for him, and I'm sure he'll do well there, I mean, he's coming from a low base. The club did very badly last year, so he can only improve it, So that's a good situation for himself.
Yeah, but also clubs that have very high expectations, they've also got almost like a Chipper United tendency of not being patient with their coaches.
As I said, it's a different environment. I mean, you saw what happened last season. I mean, Zimbabwe won the double and he left, and I mean, that's what happens there. It's a sort of, it's a mercenary effect. You sort of go in, hit, and you come out. That's what you find a lot in world football now, especially in Africa. There's a lot of those. What's happening is sort of mercenaries. You go in, out, and 1 year in, and if you lost a year,
Just, but with that, I mean, you mentioned Zimbabwe, somebody who was here coaching, Orlando Pirates, left, went, back to Germany, and then his journey kind of took many different turns with personal things happening in between.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that he and Fadlu Davids, whether they were there going to Russia or anywhere else, they formed a partnership. So he leaves. I mean, allegedly there are monies that are owing to him. The usual story.
Normal story.
Yeah. But it's again empowered Fadlu Davids not to come back to South Africa, stay in the region and become the head coach.
You've got to commend what Fadlu's done as well, because he's gone there as assistant and now he's gone in as a head coach at Simba. Yeah. And really, let's be honest, in Tanzania, there's only really 2 teams. So you're either going to come first or second.
So it's like a Scotland.
Yeah. So, and if you come second, you're normally out.
No, for sure.
So, and it's a great stadium to play in. The away games is obviously the problem in Tanzania, but the home games are full there in capacity and played there a few times. So he's got a great opportunity going from a base of, got relegated with Maritzburg, and get another job. And it just shows you how football works. And he's done his license, UEFA Pro license now. So, he's done brilliant, man.
But is that...
And he's young and he's enthusiastic and, it can only take him to bigger and better things.
What is that saying about South African coaches?
Well, I always said, Robert, us coaches, we've always been judged on our national team, haven't we? That's where you get judged. Like if Brazil won the World Cup, then Brazilian coaches are the best. Yeah. If the Germans, so that's how it's worked over the years. I mean, if you look back to my time in 1966 when England won it, we had all these English coaches come in the 60s and 70s, and they were the best coaches, weren't they? Yeah. Because England, and it goes with a fashionable thing like that. So with South African being a bit barren the last few years in the national team, I think we haven't been regarded as coaching, certainly we don't have the acumen, or we don't have our football, or whatever the situation. I mean, you don't have international scouts coming here like they used to, checking our local league, and then when you look back to 96, when Bafana won, I mean, all our players went out. There's certainly a lot of talk about coaches, and then, I was just starting then, 94, 95. Yeah. So, guys like Clive and Gordon and all those guys, they should have got moves then, and they should have,
But I think also social media has played a role, Kevin, when you look at how the interest has been.
Yeah.
So you get the unveiling of Rulani Mokwena, it becomes national news. I mean, he's got more microphones than we could ever have in this building for a press conference.
Yeah.
I just think that the door, the gap, the space has become closed down so much.
The world is a smaller place now, isn't it? People jump on aeroplanes. The furthest I went to is Durban, you know what I mean? On an aeroplane. Now you jump on an aeroplane, go watch a game of football, come back. So the world has become a smaller place. I just think there's a lot of quality in South Africa and bubbling under the group now, the sort of the PSL. There's a lot of good young coaches coming through who want to learn more, want to be educated more, got huge interest in the game. And I just think it'll break through sooner or later where, somebody will get into one of the bigger leagues, I mean, already Pitso's gone on, done brilliantly, Rulani now, big steps. So there's huge opportunities.
Sure. Where do we even begin, guys? You know what, after the break. Don't miss it.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time. #MSW.
You know what's back like it never left? Takealot's Ultimate Checkout. It's not just a sale, it's a sale. Shop epic deals on your highest rated, most wish-listed, and most searched for products on Takealot. You can even shop daily deals at last year's Black Friday prices. Now that's a deal. So go on, get that TV, that fridge you've been checking out, and even that smartphone. Shop Takealot's Ultimate Checkout now.
We weren't born to stand still. You know what I'm talking about. The itchy feet, constantly on the hunt for the next hustle, the next adventure, the next horizon. We get it. It's in our DNA. This inner drive to push, own our path, and be more. Which is why we're excited to introduce the all-new Suzuki Jimny 5-Door.
The Suzuki Jimny 5-Door, born for the urban jungle and more. Now with extra space, wireless connectivity, and rear-view camera. Suzuki Jimny 5-Door, born for more.
What's a Thursday without Lotto Star's real jackpot race? We are bringing you the hottest slots in a thrilling race where a share of 500,000 Rand could be yours. The jackpot is guaranteed to hit. Join the race every Thursday evening from 7 to 9 p.m. You could be one of 500 lucky winners. Lotto Star, your world of live games. Lotto Star is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18. NRGP 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
It's Winter Carnival at Food Lovers Market. Get 28-day matured beef rump steak for only $99.99 per kilo. Beef biltong or Dravos for a low $199.99 per kilo. Beef potjiekos stew for $69.99 per kilo. And 2 500-gram packs of Food Lovers lean beef mince for just $79.99. Valid till this Sunday at Food Lovers Market. Winter Carnival now on.
Heat up your winter with the Huawei Winter Warmer Sale. Discover incredible savings and an interconnected world with the Huawei Super Device Experience, where your phone, watch, earbuds, PC, and tablets talk to each other in just one tab. Melt the ice on tech expenses this winter with savings of up to 10,000 Rand on selected Huawei products and applicable Huawei deals, subject to T's and C's. Find your perfect match at Vodacom, MTN, Telkom, Cell C, or selected retailers.
Beat the winter blues and enjoy the biggest ever Continental Linen Luxury for Less sale. Hi, Lauren Khan here. Shop dreamy deals like 6 large designer coffee mugs for only 100 Rand. Snooze under super soft imported bamboo bedding at up to 40% off. It's time for the Continental Linen Luxury for Less big winter sale. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Shop in-store or online at bedbathhome.co.za.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Kosinatis BC, Orlando Pirates defender is here in studio. Awundaba ithethwa Ndlondlo. Orlando Pirates midfielder also in studio.
As a team, abahleli, seeing ukuthi a team has been showing a lot of promise, giving us a lot of hope that they can challenge the Sundowns to the league. Every season they always fall short.
I think it's a question that would always be there to say, what's the discussion? You can win Nedbank Cup, you can win MTN 8, but it's about the league.
I think, Prarop, first and foremost, it was to integrate the new players, and I think if we get that right, we can challenge for the league.
But the league's still not there.
In a manner that the management has started by bringing the other analysts that are going to help us a lot, that is going to play a vital role in us.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to the top coach, Coach Gavin Hunt. I just want to find out from you, how do you remain competitive in an environment where you are constantly rebuilding a team, looking at the number of movements that are happening at SuperSport on a regular basis, and how is Vincent Pule adjusting to the new environment, having not played for such a long time, and him being featuring in your preseason games? Just want to hear your views around those two aspects. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best in the upcoming season.
Thank you very much indeed. Coach Gavin Hunt is my guest here for the full hour. He is live on the YouTube channel as we speak, so you can pop through there. You can watch, add your comments, and listen wherever you are around the country, the continent, or the world. This is hashtag MSW. How you remain competitive? Because I know this is a difficult, sticky part about your job. Has been you started like a house on fire again with kids, youngsters. Then things slipped up slightly. The frustration started to come through from your side, but you maintain. I mean, you don't put the club in that fight for relegation, regardless.
Look, when I came back to the club, they sat me down and said, "This is the brief. This is the way we're going.
Yeah.
We're not going to have. There's a cap on the salaries. We're not going. The big hitters, earners, if you want to call them, whatever.
Sure.
And we're going to go with the youth, and we're going to try and keep our expenses. I mean, this is the bottom line. Why, this is where the club is. So I came in, I thought, well, this is a hell of a project, and excited me because I knew we can be competitive, but can we actually win, challenging, Sundowns, who obviously on another level. So I came in the first year, which was 2 years back, and and we came third, you know, and we didn't do, you know, the cups are obviously where you try and always do better. We didn't do great in the cup, but we came third, qualified us for Africa. This last season, we came 7th, but we by 1 point from 4th, which is unbelievable, you know, with what the first round we were very good, and the second round we dropped off. But I think you can stand and make excuses, but I just think with a young squad, with travel and up and down, and we just never had, you know, and I don't think it was a lack of trying. The players were magnificent. I just think it was a lack of concentration, you know, experience. And you learn by, you know, there was games we were 2-0 up and 1-0 up and we draw in, and we, you know, these type of games which got us into third, second comfortably with the squad they had, you know. I just think from that perspective. So this year we've gone 2-3. You can see we've brought a few experienced players in. We've had to, and hopefully we played 13 players under the age of 20 last year.
Sure,
13. I mean, it's unbelievable in the first team. So you know, 1 or 2 of them have moved on. 1 or 2 will stay. I mean, you know what's happened, the transfer market and that. So 1 or 2 of these experienced players can help us. I've already seen in the week that they've been here, or 2 that they certainly. They had a little bit of calmness that you need in certain situations, and they will give us, I know they will be very good for us.
I want to chat about Vincent in a second, but I don't want us to lose that momentum of what you mentioned about the young players, because you look at a Chandre Campbell, a guy that entered SuperSport with the academy at the age of 11, he exits at 18, and he goes into a Champions League team with Club Brugge. That is no mean feat. That is one of the top teams that can take him anywhere around Europe.
That's for the good of the boy and for good of the club and for good of everybody, it's fantastic for them. But obviously, me personally, it's very frustrating because you do so much work and you can see it coming now. We're going to benefit, and then he moves on. The year before, I've only been back here 2 years. You had Tepela Maseko. He went great season. Now I know the next season is going to be good for us. He moves on. So Patrick, you know, at Tito at Pirates, same thing. Just come into the fold, and then they're gone. So that's been the frustrating part for me, and for the players. The players that stay, they go, "But coach, are we ambitious or what?" And I got to answer questions. I say, "Yeah, no, we want to win, but you know, we need. Yeah, but what's happening? You know, players all leaving, and you know, and players ask questions. That's what they do, and players." If you look at, I mean, I always remember that, like players overseas, they don't want to sign their contracts. Coach, who's coming in? What are we doing? Are we ambitious? You know, a guy like Bradley Grob has been through good times, you know, down times and up again, and he's fantastic. And he's always, what's happening, coach? You know, so these are the type of questions you got to answer. But we got to listen. A great youth development. It's a great club. It's a great setup. It's well run, and that's the most important thing, you know.
Because that's why he gave credit amongst a lot of people that he gave credit to when it was announced. I mean, it was all the academy staff, everybody that he works with, but he gave the most and the biggest credit to you as a coach.
Yeah.
And I remember, he was top goal scorer in the DDC. He was their best player by far, got nominated for 2 other awards.
Since I started coaching, Rob, I'll always coach players to play in Europe.
Yes.
So there's a big difference to play in South Africa and to play in Europe. Now, people might say, oh, they don't like the style of football, but I know players that I coach. The way I coach them is to get them into Europe.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've got hundreds of players.
Yeah.
And like Benny from the start. And then you had like Bongani Kamala. Bongani Kamala wasn't rated in South African football, but he can play in Europe. Why? Because he's coached to play that type of game. They need those. Sandre Camel, you know, it's not like, you know, it's about getting, he's crossing, he's passing the final ball. So that's the mentality. I always coach that way. I've done it since I started. So it might not look fancy and but, you know, it doesn't like the public eye, but you've got to coach players that way that we can move them to that space. And that's what people look for. When I speak to top coaches, or what do they look for in a player? Where does he play? If he does 1, 2, 3, well, that's what we're doing, you know. And that's, people got to understand that.
So there's a bigger mentality because,
yes, of course.
When you give a boy that young, and he just recently, just last month, he turned 18. He was 17 for the bulk of the season, and he gets to play 30 games in all competitions. That says a lot. Even match day 1, I remember this very well because you were playing against Richards Bay. You put him in from the start, match day 1 in the Premier Division.
Yeah.
And he gives the assist for 2 of the goals that you scored against Richards Bay. You won that game. That, for a young kid, is never, ever going to change his mindset and his mentality.
He wasn't the only one that day.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a few others that they're making their debuts. I think what you got to see, you've got to understand the product that you're playing in, or the level that you're playing in, and what you're going to, what's coming to you, and then obviously get players to understand that, and then get them doing simply 1, 2, 3 things that'll won't complicate the situation. And the way he played on the left hand side, if you worked on his crossing and his final ball, it has to get better, and he will get better because they will work with him more there.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have worked with him more now, but he's moved on, and that's the bottom line. And you've got to get players doing those things if we want our game to get better.
Talk about youngsters.
Hey, Coach. My favorite coach. Hey, Rob. How's it? Great show as always. Just a quick one for the coach. He's known for introducing youngsters season after season. Which youngsters must we look out for this season? Or he's just keeping it under wraps until the season starts? Greg here from Midbank.
You'd probably tell me about 12.
Yeah, there's a few, there's really a few. I mean, there's 1 or 2 who made their debuts last year that pretty much will get a little bit more time now because, the spaces and opportunities there. We've got a boy back he's been all over the world, Sweden, Keenan Ayers.
Yes.
He's 23, 24. He went to a Ghana academy at 11 or 12 years old. It's an unbelievable story. And he's come back. He's got all the attributes that I think can be a top player, Wow. And he's come back at 23, and I think he'll be very good for us, this season.
So that's the name. Because I know he was asking, he was saying, give us the name of a player, because it's always nice to just look out for a certain player.
Yeah, I think he's one. I think a guy like Tabang Mashlenga, who was a top goal scorer in Diski last year. I mean, he scored again today, he scored yesterday, he scored in tour. I'm saying, stop now, He said to me, why, coach? I said, but don't score the goals now.
Save them for the...
But I said, no. But, he's doing, we just got to, so there's a lot of work still, individual work, his movement and all these things which we do at training. And we will get a little bit more time now to work on those type of things. Because I think he's certainly got a lot of upside to him, And there's 1 or 2 others certainly under the radar as well.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa. Good evening to the coach. I'd like to say SuperSport will be the dark horse in this upcoming PSL season. If they don't win it, they will influence who will win it. Because I know SuperSport have got 6 points already from one of the so-called PSL contenders. I won't mention the club, but I know the club. Thanks, David in Parkwood.
David in Parkwood, do you agree with that?
No, I mean, you look at the quality that's above us. It finished last year, I think. Even a team like Stellenbosch have done well. They've recruited well. Obviously they got the Africa now, and they want to do well there. What draw they get is going to entail how they do. If they get a lot of North Africas or a lot of connecting flight draws, those connecting flight draws.
Where you got to sleep for
where you go to
Dubai
Dubai 9 hours and then 10 hours that way. It takes you 27 hours like last year. We had 3 North African teams, Libya, Algeria, Egypt's direct, but the other 2 were connection flights, and and to get back and then play a day later in Polokwane again on a bus, doesn't help.
So is that why, and I know you probably addressed this when all of the graduates for the CAF A license were then interacting with the media, and then I think it was still rife that Sekhukhune United wanted to, grab your signature to coach them, given your vast experience of playing within the continent itself. Would you say, using a Clark analogy, was your potential deal with Sekhukhune a 22, 2:45?
Where do you start, at 12? Or where does the hand start?
Let's start at
like a normal way around.
Yeah.
No, it was just I think it's a lot of media speculation, I think, as well. I don't think there was...
But they were serious, though. They wanted...
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The
okay, I didn't know that. I had it extended already, so I don't know where the...
Would have been too late.
Yeah.
But you'd have understood, though.
For me, Rob, you'll see my career. The only time I've moved is when we sold the club or I got fired. And, I got fired twice. So, I don't like to... I like to have continuity and work on the training ground with players and see players come on, have better careers. And obviously, if you can have a bit of success along the way, even better,
All right, let me go to some of the callers. You can give us a call, 011-883-8947. Gavin Hunt is my guest. Hulufalang Naturina, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Robin. Good evening to Coach Gavin Hunt. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we good, man. How are you?
Not doing too bad, Mr. Rob. Good evening, Coach Gav. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I just want to first congratulate you for the continuity that you have shown over the years with the number of clubs that you've coached, with the different accolades that you've achieved, be it at Black Leopards, at Morocco Swallows, to name a few. I would just want to find out, there is this constant indoctrination in South African football which has to involve the buying and selling of players. The buying and selling of statuses, where clubs are now defunct, they now no longer exist. From your view, especially being a part of clubs that have made history, winning titles that they thought they'd never win in their lives, what do you think South African football needs to do to make more stringent measures? Because at this rate, there could be any publisher that doesn't even know where to start writing in terms of, the history of South African football with clubs that no longer exist. So what do you think South African football needs to do in order to keep whatever clubs that are there, and in order to, rather reduce the buying and selling statuses where clubs are now dead? They are no longer existing. That's what I want to find out from you, Coach.
Good question. Thanks so much. Sure. Listen on the radio.
I've seen a few come and go, that's for sure.
I was saying that it's going to be something that's also very personal to you, because 2017-2018 season, you win the league championship after 99 years of their existence, and nothing happened. They get sold.
The next year relegated.
Yeah, then they're gone. That was Bidvest Wits. Now we've got a situation with Marumo Gallants coming through, buying Swallows again, a team that you coached, a team that you gave ABSA, the ABSA Cup. If you remember,
we were never.
Cup.
I was there Swallows 6 years. We never had the top six. We were in 2 cup finals. We sold players.
Yeah.
We made, financially we were stable, which is the most important thing.
Stability.
I think when you employ coaches, you've got to. You've got to give a little bit more credit that you can keep the books alive a little bit, in terms of moving players and keeping the club stable. If you go on Netflix now and you watch La Liga, and this is what's, you look how clubs are run, and I think that we are going that way, getting sporting directors in, where they're keeping the philosophy of the club. That means you got to get the coach that suits your philosophy, not just a coach who comes in who's different to how you want to do things. Is he prepared to work with younger players? Is he prepared to coach more? Because the game, I think in South Africa, has to go that way, where you get sporting directors in, and you obviously have to work with the coach, and he has to employ the coach, and then you have the same philosophy. He says, right, we can't pay this, we have to do it like this, we have to get younger players in. The team is getting too old, blah 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 blah, and there's got to be a clear path line, and I think that South African football has to go that way. I think for the longevity of and to keep clubs a little bit more stable.
Yeah.
Because the top clubs, they'll always be there. But I'm saying the clubs who are under the bottom 8 clubs, get somebody in who understands the game, who knows the game, which is very difficult, and have a clear plan, philosophy, and employ somebody that's going to go with us and have a good guy who can coach people, not just talk, and coach players and make the teams better and make players better.
Right, we're going to take more of your questions. The conversation continues. Gavin Hunt, my guest.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time.
#MSW. Look out for great savings on dental health products at Dis-Chem. Get 2+1 cheapest free when you buy from the same brand offer. Find the widest range of brands you love, such as Dental Mate, Sensodyne, Colgate, and more. Smile brighter with 2+1 cheapest free on the widest range of manual toothbrushes, toothpaste, and mouthwashes. Valid until 11 August at Dis-Chem pharmacies. Better health starts here.
Celebrate 32 years of Mr. D. We've delivered since your fingers walked the yellow pages so that we could run to the shops for you. And a queen worked at New Horizons.
Hello, darling. This is Queen.
We brought you the hottest deals since we said no to Obas and hello to our gogos.
Bro, that's since you think is cooler as Eka.
Celebrate our birthday on the Mr. D app with legendary deals. Mr. D, delivering woohoo to you since 92.
In the world of business, every second counts. Postnet isn't just a service, it's an extension of our business. They handle our shipments, bulk printing, and so much more. It's like having an extra division without the overheads.
That's because Postnet is a community partner, rooting for your success. Postnet, empowering businesses one account at a time, getting you across the line.
We all know how dry and itchy your skin can feel in the winter months. Epimax believes that in order to look good, you must first feel good, and has a skincare product for every member of your family. For babies, for you, and even for grandpa's cracked heels. So don't hide your skin this winter. Feel good with Epimax. Get it for you and your family at any shop or pharmacy.
It's more than a car. It's Onke's key to freedom and independence. It's the long drives with family and friends filled with the most blissful experiences.
At ABSA Insurance, we cover things that matter with simple and affordable car insurance. Get up to 44% of your car premiums back for driving well, a telematics device with stolen vehicle recovery capability, and a panic button. Visit absa.co.za to get a quote and move to ABSA Insurance today. Your story matters. ABSA, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The world's best cooking show is coming to SABC3. MasterChef South Africa Season 5. You'll meet 20 talented home cooks from around Mzansi, Noma Upumaphi, and no matter your favorite dish, see if the chefs can handle the heat in the kitchen in a race to be crowned MasterChef South Africa. Starts Saturday 13 July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC3, Channel 193. MasterChef South Africa, proudly sponsored by Pick n Pay.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Of course, that is BC. Orlando Pirates defender is here in studio.
Coaches I want to find out from Usbisi. Ever since he was injured, I think it was against Sundowns in the MTN final. He was a regular, and when he came back, he hasn't been used regularly as was before. How does he take it to be playing second fiddle to Unda no Toki?
Just tell me about those two contrasts and how you plan on maybe changing things slightly this season.
Some things are of a mental aspect, you know, whether you're playing or not playing. But whether it's at Pirates, whether it's at Bafana, you know, I try to stay positive, you know. So you just have to be patient, you know, wait for your turn. And when your turn comes, you have to make sure you take the chance.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Good evening, Rob. Let me firstly start by congratulating Coach Gavin Hunt on his coaching license. Rob, my question to the coach is, what is it that he saw in Boguso Sanoka? Rob, Boguso is my homeboy. We are from Northwest, same township. Played under my wings. We played for the same team. So what is it that he saw in the boy that Chiefs, Pirates and Sundowns don't see? And I thank him for spotting the talent of this boy. The boy is a quality centre back, Robert, and he got the energy and the ability to work more. Thank you, Bra Rob.
Thank you so much indeed. I do understand that question. It's a brilliant question because, Bogiso Sanoka as well as Unyiko Mubi and Vincent Pule were one of the major signings, some of the major signings, but you've just whipped out one of them. Bogiso is just saying, what did you spot in him?
Well, I always said your best centre-backs anywhere in the world, you look at the best clubs in the world, are over 30. Why? Well, it's a position of the field where you need experience, you need calmness, you need all the type of, there's a leadership quality there as well. He's got mileage in him, meaning he's played 27, 28 games the last 2 seasons. He was a captain of Galaxy. You know, it was an opportunity, and we needed, our one centre-back is 19, other one is also 19, and we got, so we needed a little bit more experience there. We lost TT to Chiefs, obviously it was a huge blow to us. We need a bit more experience. I think he can help us around the place. Already in 2 weeks he's been here. He's shown, good leadership qualities, good professional. So hopefully, the proof will be in the pudding, when we start. But the signs are good, and we just got to get him into the way we do things or how we do things, and I think he'll be fine.
Right, let me take Sponello down in Durban. Good evening. Hey, Sponello.
Good evening,
Welcome.
Yes, how are you?
All good, man. Coach is here. You want to quickly ask the question?
Yes, I just want to ask Coach Gavin Hunt. I just want to take him back to Kaizer Chiefs. I know it didn't end well, it ended very painful for him and also for the supporters. But I just want to ask him how would he describe his relationship with his assistant coaches, in particular Coach Adazwane, who ended up taking over as the head coach of Kaizer Chiefs. How would he describe the relationship with him, as well as later on with the sporting director at Kaizer Junior?
Okay, nice one. I'll ask you to listen on the radio.
Look, I mean, we always get asked that question. It's gone now. We got to the semi-final. I got to the semi-final of the Champions League. They got to the final. Obviously, I left then, while I was relieved of my duties, which was that's my biggest regret. Maybe just leave me to go to the final. Yeah. So that was a big regret for me, because I've never been in that space, and it was a club that got huge potential. And I got on well with all the stuff. There was no problems. Obviously, as you move on in football, you sort of go in your own directions, and so it was. We got on well. I got no problems. But obviously, that was the biggest thing that certainly still today, leaves a scar. Not going to that final of the Champions League against Al Ahly, and after doing so well, getting so far with a group of players that we had that needed it overall at that time, but it was obviously going to come the next season, and obviously that didn't happen,
And I think even Coach Pitso mentioned it, that it should have been something.
But so was in the final. It would have been a great final.
No, exactly. But that's what I'm saying, that he mentioned it when he was here, that it's one of the things that he feels when you paid your tribute to him, that should have never happened, because everybody knows when it comes to cups, when it comes to winning trophies, that you have a history of doing that. And regardless, sometimes you look at the domestic side of things when things are not clicking, but you don't get to a semi-final of Champions League.
Well, I mean, I said, I don't want to talk too much about it, but if you look at the team that we had at the time, it was an aging team. And, with no a lot of players out. Billiat broke his leg, Norkovic didn't want to play. We had no strike force, and an aging team. So the PSL, that's 100 miles an hour, that team was never going to last in the PSL. But CAF, which is slower, more methodical, slower ball, you have aging players and older players, which we had. And, and I always said that quarterfinal game, we played Simba, we beat them 4-0 here, and we lost 3-0 there. If it was the other way around, people would have had different, but there was a bad feeling. I thought, well, listen, guys, we're in the semi-final. And then obviously, that was on the Sunday. We had to go to Toronto on the Wednesday, and obviously that when it all happened, we didn't have it just needed, it was time. And obviously with everything that was going on, it was just if it's just another game or two, and then you would have seen a huge change. But anyway, that's history and great experience. And, man, would have loved to be in that final.
You can still do it, Coach. You can still do it. You got age on your side. We'll talk about, birthdays that happened just a couple of days back. Let's go to Midrand, man. Somebody wants to take us back to 97, 98. Brian, man, good evening.
Yes. How you doing, Marawa? How you doing, Gavin Hunt?
Yeah. We good. How are you?
Okay, I'm well. So I'm 16 years old. It's either 97 or 98. And I'm at Chatsworth Stadium watching Manning Rangers play Swallows. And here's Gavin Hunt there, and we're sitting behind him. And Manning Rangers halftime, we're 3-0 up. And the Swallows fans next to me go, and Gavin Hunt turns around and they go, Hunt, we don't want you. Hunt, you must go. Hunt, you must go. Second half come out, Swallows smash us 4-3. Hunt, you must stay. Hunt, you must not go. You must stay. I want to know if he remembers that.
I remember the game. I'll tell you, I can tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened in that game. We were 3-0 down. Clive was opposition coach for Manning Rangers. This is like a walk in the park. Clive, he always chirped, he wind you up. And I said and I went into the dressing room, and Jabu Mendu, who was my captain, he kicked me out the dressing room. He said, get out.
Oh.
He kicked me out. I said, get out. He closed the door in my face. And he went on at the players. He had a full go.
Yeah.
And then I went in and I said, right, you know, if I made 3 changes or whatever I did. I think it was only 2 then. Yeah. And we beat them 4-3.
And you whacked us. And I'll never forget it, because I was like, that's the day. And I'll never forget you since. And I think I followed you since and everything.
But
And
it came well.
just a pleasing
I think it
moment
was. I'm a Monday
Yes,
game. What are they-
Tuesdays when
it was a Tuesday game. I
when
think,
SuperSport had just had one game before they got the rights to broadcast.
I
the
enjoyed
games
those. I'm
fully.
a Monday. I'm a Tuesday games.
Tuesdays.
What they call them? I'm a Monday,
At night.
Tuesday games. Yeah.
Yes,
We won
so
4-3.
That's all I wanted to say. And I wanted to say, that was a beautiful memory.
Thanks, man.
Beautiful one. Thanks for taking us back there, man. Unbelievable times, though, because that was Manning Rangers, if everybody remembers. They were the first team to win the inaugural PSL trophy. And
96,
97 season. And, Manning Chatswood Stadium. That
Friday nights. Oof.
Yeah, it's like, Bushbucks playing in Mthatha. Slaughterhouse.
At Independence Stadium,
At the Independence Stadium.
Yeah. Rob, and we can go even further back, to my playing days, I mean, there's so many big clubs that are gone that the history, it's just so sad. But we need to create our own history now. If we're going to go this way, we need to have stability and have, yes, there's going to be clubs that go down and go up, but we need to have stability and clubs playing in the same venues and the same places, and you create people say, well, supporters don't go to games. Well, why not? They're moving here, there, they're moving all over the show. Yeah. If they had more stability with the stadiums that they go to and they play here, don't move, keep the name the same, and clubs like that, I mean, we had great days there playing those games,
Because the crazy thing is that I fully agree with that. I think it's also what Hulufalang was talking about. How do you maintain that history when some of the clubs don't even last a couple of years? Because in the same way that Amazulu bounced back, they had to dip back and do a purchase. In the same way that Morocco Swallows, who we now call a defunct team, they also had to go into the pockets, get the name back. They got half a name back, and then they got Morocco Swallows back as a full name. And then now they don't exist. They are Marumo Gallants. Bloemfontein Celtic, historically, that was a shame. They are Royal AM, Highlands Park.
I mean, you get the youth of today. The youth of today, they'll be asking the elders, I played for Celtic. Who's Celtic? Yeah. And Celtic was a huge club. Who's Morocco Swallows? They, the youth of today won't know that. And if you look at, I mean, we don't want to, but we have to compare. Who did I play? I played for Man United. Well, Man United is still there in the 60s and 70s and 50s, and we need to create. It's sad when I see these clubs go like this, it's really sad.
And purchasing, and it's not saying that people should not purchase.
No.
They should, because even the Man Uniteds and the Chelseas, they go through different leaderships and purchases and takeovers by different people.
Saudi Arabia own half of the English Premier League.
And what they're doing in the French
But they keep
division.
it there, they keep it in the city, they keep the name the same, they keep the culture,
history.
tradition, the history. Imagine taking Kaizer Chiefs and calling it Joburg United. I mean, would it have the same effect? I don't know. You know what I mean? There'll be an outcry,
So there would be. But that's what I'm saying, that some clubs would never go through that process.
Yeah.
But others have had to go through that process.
Yeah.
I think when Jamasona was here, because of what he claims Sekukune did to him, he says Sekukune should be calling themselves Sekukune Jomo Cosmos.
Hi, Mr. Marawa. Umkumbuka Kumalolo. Let me also greet Mr. Hunt, a perfectionist. Mr. Hunt, just one question for me. I know a lot has been covered in this interview. How does it make you feel as a coach, knowing that you've invested so much in the craft of coaching football? If you're sitting against your counterpart that hasn't done anything, that hasn't gone through anything, whatever, as a development. So I'm talking about a person that just finished playing football and then he becomes a coach.
That's a good question. You normally find the guy that just started normally beats you. They win the game, and then. But I think the longevity and the consistency is the most important thing in terms of keeping your discipline, coming to training, make sure the training sessions are done properly, make sure you're preparing the team properly. That takes a lot. And there's a lot of people that 5 minutes in the game, and they go out the game and come back, and that's what you need. You need that consistency. If you want to, I see too many ex-players just want to walk into a job, and you got to do the hard yards. I think you got to earn your stripes, as I call it. I did 3 years, or there's 3 or 4 years in the first division with 7 stars.
Yes.
Learning the tricks of the trade, and then getting to the PSL. A lot of coaches are coming straight into PSL and without earning their stripes. And I think in coaching, sometimes you need, well, not sometimes, all the time, you need to do that. You need to take clubs that are low on budget, don't have players, build a team, coach a way of playing, and get results. Because the bottom line is about results.
Vincent Pule, the reunion?
Oh, yeah, great. I mean, he's like a blooming kid in a china shop at the moment.
Buzzing.
I said to him, just slow down, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's in, I signed him from African Warriors. Remember them? They were in Paputa Chaba there. I signed him at Wits. And he scored the goal in the Telkom Cup final, I remember, for us, and he played a huge part when we won the league and the top 8 games and so on. And then obviously he got bought by Pirates, and he's had 7-8 good years there, whatever. And to get him back now, he's still the same. In terms of athleticism, he can still run. He's got good legs, pace, good delivery on the ball, strikes the ball well, can play in multiple positions, which is important for a team of ours.
Very versatile, I think.
That's what I'm saying. I said to him, "Can you play centre back?" He said, "No, not yet, coach."
It's close to retirement age. You have to start pushing him a little bit, a little bit back as
so
well.
he's been, he's something that obviously came about.
Was there a potential for a Keegan Dolly deal to happen?
I wasn't involved in any of that.
At all.
It was media with whoever, but I wasn't involved at all with that. So it was quite funny reading it every day.
I think that speculation always plays a big role.
I mean, it's sad that he hasn't got a club. He's a fantastic footballer, Can I have both? Can I take both? The management listening?
I think he's available. Who knows? He could end up at Richards Bay for all I know. That is also a potential. The final minute of the show that's left. I mean, you turned 60 just the other day.
No, don't say that, Rob.
I have to remind you, Coach.
I get a SASA card now.
SASA card pass.
And free bus trips on a Monday. You go to Builders Warehouse on a Monday, get off price.
Buy cement, get a Magwinya for free, right? That is how we build society. But I was looking at just how interesting it is. On Friday, Coach Pizzo turns 60.
Yeah. Steve Compella is also my age.
Yes, Steve Compella.
There's an I think they're a bit younger, Balker and them, and Eric and them,
Yeah, so I was just thinking about it as you were walking in. I'm saying you turned 60 the other day. Pizzo turned 60 on Friday.
Steve Compella. Yesterday, the day before,
You guys, your second names are both John, but you're also, two of the most successful coaches to have ever coached in South Africa when it comes to trophies and league titles as well. Mm-hmm. This turning point means what to you and your journey ahead?
I'm hugely enthusiastic still. I love the smell of the green grass in the morning. Well, only in Joburg, it's brown at the moment.
No, completely.
But I love the smell of the grass. I love the enthusiasm of the players. It makes me very, very upset if they're not enthusiastic tomorrow morning at training and attitudes are not right. So I enjoy that space and to see players get better and better their lives and make careers and have a life off the football. There's so many and not to struggle and that certain. To see Sandre go off now, we got another one, Emmy Ocon, going now to Belgium the next day or two. So these are great for me. It gives me so much joy and pride, and it keeps me going to let's find the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's find the next one.
It's almost like saying let's find the next hour, which we can't. Cheers, Gavin.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time. #MSW.